Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The outcome of the US presidential election is on a knife edge with Donald Trump and his rival Joe Biden neck and neck in key swing states. The incumbent, Donald Trump, claimed to have won and vowed to launch a Supreme Court challenge alleging electoral fraud, despite not pointing to any evidence.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop.
Earlier, Mr. Biden said he was on track to victory. Millions of votes remain uncounted and no candidate can credibly claim victory yet. The final result may not be known for days as more than 100 million people cast their ballots in early voting before Election Day, setting the US on course for the highest turnout in a century.
We believe we're on track to win this election.
Yes.
You know, we could know the results as early as tomorrow morning, but it may take a little longer. As I've said all along, it's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people. But I'm optimistic about this outcome.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has ordered a military offensive to subdue the authorities in Tigray state following an alleged attack on an army base. Mr. Abiy accused the region's ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, of launching the attack. He said in a TV address the attack resulted in many martyrs, injuries and property damage. The cabinet has declared a state of emergency in the region for 6 months, while local authorities have also shut down electricity, telephone and internet services. Ivory Coast's government has accused the opposition leaders of an act of sedition after they announced a parallel administration in defiance of President Alassane Ouattara's election win. Video showing riot police surrounding the residence of Ivory Coast's opposition leader Henry Konan Bedi. The riot police dispersed the protesters after the government accused him of sedition for heading a transitional council announced the previous day. The Economic Community of West African States, the African Union and the United Nations have all urged the opposition to abandon the idea of a transitional council and engage in dialogue with the government. Ugandan police have arrested opposition leader Bobi Wine shortly after he handed in nomination papers for next year's presidential election. 15 people have been reportedly injured as Ugandan security forces dispersed crowds gathered to protest the arrest of Mr. Wine. Aides and witnesses said police bundled the politician into a van after smashing through the windows of his vehicle. The 38-year-old politician is seeking to end President Yoweri Museveni's power, which has lasted for more than a third of a century in February's poll. Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared Russia wanted to retain its superiority in the Arctic, planning to renew its icebreaker fleet to bolster its presence there. Moscow has stepped up its efforts to tap the region's commercial potential, including by increasing freight traffic on the Northern Sea Route, which runs from Murmansk in the Russian Arctic to the Bering Strait near Alaska. In recent years, Russia has also reopened abandoned Soviet military air and radar bases in the energy-rich region as it vies for dominance against traditional rivals Canada, the United States and Norway, as well as newcomer China. Hurricane Eta, one of the most powerful storms to hit Central America in years, has ploughed into Nicaragua, battering homes and infrastructure and threatening deadly floods. The US National Hurricane Center said Eta was an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm on a 5-step scale, bringing catastrophic winds, flash flooding and landlines. When it struck the coast, Eta was blowing potentially devastating winds of 140 miles per hour. Nicaraguan officials said there were still no reports of deaths or injuries. And finally, Chief Inspector Doreen Malambo of Zambia, currently serving in the UN mission in South Sudan, has been named the 2020 United Nations Woman Police Officer of the Year by the UN Department of Peace Operations.
The second day,
Ms. Malambo currently serves as a gender advisor in Juba, South Sudan, where she was first deployed in 2016, a year marked with widespread violence in the country. Working with the United Nations Population Fund, she helped establish the Stand Up for Rights of Women and Girls initiative that has helped to reduce and prevent sexual and gender-based crime in South Sudan. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.